Hi there. Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ryan, and today we're going to get divine with the Celestial. I'm joined by my esteemed Nerdarchists.
Dave.
Ted?
Nate.
So one of the biggest complaints I've heard is, that Tiefling is in the PHB, but the Aasimar is not. So, Watts went and there was a lot of speculation too that what race they were going to put into the DMG. And I was hoping for the Warforged, but I didn't get it.
No, they did not.
I really think the Warforged is going to be in the Eberron book, but that's
Well, there's
for
plenty of stuff that's setting specific, but it's funny that the holy one, the good planar touch humanoid is in the DMG, and the innately evil eat your soul, everyone's suspicious of you, is in the player's handbook.
Well, here's the thing too, like the Tiefling that we're familiar with is like 2E and 3E, and that's the version that I actually like. But they made it a distinct race in 4th. They carried that over to 5th. So I don't even know what that means for the Aasimar. It used to be if you were a Tiefling, your great-great-great-granddaddy might have been some kind of fiend, whether it was infernal or abyssal.
Right.
But now that's not the case. That it's a true race that's been of humans that has been cursed, and now they're kind of demonic humans.
Well, I think you can go, in my opinion, with either choice for your particular setting, and for our games, I think we pretty much should stick to the somewhere in your blood trail is this,
Kicking it back old school,
but at the same
way it should
time
be.
allow you to breed true. You're going to breed another tiefling essentially because there is that descendant bloodline.
or you just have if you were to breed with a human, maybe, or even an elf, like a half elf that looks just a little off, or a human that looks just a little off.
Well, I mean,
but anywhere's in the bloodline, a Tiefling can pop up.
That's true.
Is kind of the deal. Is the way I would do it.
It's like a recessive trait or something.
Yeah.
Well, you could also breed true as a race if, let's say, you gather together in communities, and then that kind of bottleneck effect where
if you get all the Tieflings
there's
together.
like 10, 15 Tieflings in a community, and maybe some other races. Well, Tiefling's going to breed true in that over the generation, so eventually you're just going to have a race, even if it's
that would take a
small
lot of
race.
Tieflings to do that, though. And
I don't know how prevalent, how big.
So
the
okay,
species
but
is
we're
on the
talking Aasimars, but without Tieflings, we can't even talk Aasimars. I almost feel like
I agree
because we don't have a lot of the fluff, and I feel like we're all lost in the wilderness when it comes to Aasimar, so we're gonna have to make it up. For us personally, we'll probably just do the same thing with the Tieflings. We like the way they were in 3.5 and 2E, and go, okay, somewhere's there's a diva in the woodpile someplace.
And she needed her tea at exactly 78 degrees in her room.
And
in her
no green
quarters.
M&Ms
That's
in
right.
there.
That's
so.
right. Not a single guy. If there's a goddamn green M&M, she walks. All right.
So, all right, the Aasimar, it's a little sad that, they give us the example, the breakdown of how to create a race in a DMG, and they give us their thought processes of how they came by, what they gave them, but we don't get any of that.
No
any of that fluff.
HR fluff and stuff in this one.
None of
that,
that.
and they kind of did just like a reversal rather than
It's a foil.
Well, I mean,
the problem is they showed us
The
how
easiest
to
one.
build the easiest race that like a newbie to 5th edition might be able to slap together. Just saying, they could have got shot a little higher,
Picked a little more
picked a little harder
complicated
race,
of a
but
thing.
anyway.
Well, I mean, but it is what it is. So Aasimar, they blatantly say, it makes a great cleric, it makes a great paladin because it's given you both wisdom and charisma.
Well, no. That's you reverse that kind of thing, because what they did is said this should be a great cleric, this should be a great paladin, so this should get the
Right.
bump to wisdom and charisma. It's a small piece of minutia, but I think it's important to point out.
I agree. So reading through Aasimar, we've done a lot of race videos. Typically, when we do a race or a class, it gives you that feel of, man, I really want to play X. How do you guys feel about the Aasimar? Does it give you the drive to play one, or does it kind of...
Not really, but I didn't really get that feel with Tiefling as I did with a lot of the other races. They just don't appeal to me. The new fluff turns me off, so that's part of it. And honestly, what I would have liked to have seen done with with these is a plain touched race in the PHB, and both of them under the same thing as sub races.
Right, and just give sub options or whatever. The only thing is, I think it is nice, because if you wanted to play, say, some sort of multi-class caster, if you wanted to figure out a good way to gish up the cleric and the paladin, this would be a perfect thing, or cleric warlock, so it gives you that thing that if you wanted to do something that was very castery, that's cued off of charisma and wisdom, like, it gives you the perfect option to have a multi-class sorcerer as well. You could do a badass sorcerer, and then maybe your other
sorcerer druid.
Yeah, sorcerer druid or sorcerer, sorcerer cleric, and it's perfect.
Yeah, like I feel more compelled to play the Aasimar than I do the Tiefling.
Okay.
Maybe it's because I left out the fluff that I don't like. I don't know. But no,
I remember re-editing. That never happened. So,
my first read through of the Aasimar, I'm like, man, if you really go down this road, you can really make a good cleric or paladin. I was immediately drawn to it, and then after rereading it, I compared it back to the human. I'm like, well, the spells are nice, but typically when you're going to be getting those things with that class combination, you're going to get access to those spells anyway. So it didn't feel like it was really broadening the horizon to counteract that feat. And how often are you going to encounter radiant or necrotic damage? I mean, necrotic absolutely more often.
Yeah, a lot.
But it didn't give me enough mechanics to really say, all right, this is a clearly superior race. Whereas some of the other things we've done are like, yeah, that's compelling. So
well, maybe not superior, but it's still thematic in its own right.
Oh, absolutely.
So for what you were saying, you were looking at it to switch for a character concept that you had.
Absolutely, yes.
And you said, I'm just going to stick with human.
Correct.
So human works out better for you for that.
For that particular character, yeah.
But I mean, like, if you wanted to play a character that has this just sort of sense of like divine otherworldliness that you just it's just there and permeates him, like this is the character that makes.
Like they walk through the door and you're
yeah exactly
yeah, instant divine cred right there.
Or like maybe when your shadow casts, like your shadow has like angel wings, like something badass and cool like that. Like
that would be pretty sweet.
And especially with a sorcerer,
as you mentioned, Ted, the spells, you get light at cantrip, which is kind of cool. You don't have to use one of your cleric or whatever. You're going to have cantrips for that. And third, you get lesser restoration.
Yeah, lesser restoration.
I'm into
always
that.
handy.
That's really
way
good.
into that. Yeah.
Because that's whatever you are. I'm a wizard with lesser restoration. That would be cool.
Yeah,
or sorcerer with lesser restoration.
If you're going, off cast on the cleric or paladin, you're going to do, fighter or different, sorcerer, all that kind of stuff. Yes, I feel that definitely amplifies that fact. But if you're going that route, you've already got access to that.
It benefits you more when you're not playing tight.
Right.
But it's still like a one-time resource that you get to burn without dipping into anything else.
Well, and the other thing too is like even if you're a caster type, you don't have to spend a cantrip slot on light now. You have
my cleric took light. If if I, instead of being a high elf, I was a Aasimar, then I would have an extra cantrip I could spend on something else.
Right.
But I really wanted light,
Yeah.
so I took it.
Very important thing.
Gandalf has it.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
So enough for Gandalf.
So I mean, this is a really short section in the DMG. It's useful. It gives you some ideas how to build, a custom race. They also do Eladrin in there for sub race, which is nice. When I was looking to build, goblins for my game, I really was I would have just looked at the halfling anyway. But then my players are like, can we just be halflings and paint us green? I'm like, sure, done.
I have this green can of paint and this brush right here. Go to town.
Go to town. Yeah, so really, it's all about what you're trying to get out of it.
And, from the standpoint of creating a race, that's one of those things that it says, like, if you want to make a race, feel free to take a race's mechanics and, swather it with a paintbrush and turn it into something different. And you don't have to worry about the balance issues because you've already got it. Suppose you want to make this, strange alien race that's new to your world. They came in on a comet. They're highly, highly magical, but they're still connected to the forest. Boom. Slap on elf's mechanics and visually make it whatever you want, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, what's your motivation in doing a new race? So
Yeah.
and go from there.
Well, I mean, the problem of making new anything for the game is like if it immediately jumps out as the thing people are going to want to play, you've probably made something that's too good. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. You know, if it above and beyond what is existent, if people immediately want to play that, then it's probably game breaking and too good.
Unless you've got a group that you've been playing with for years, and you're now offering something that's just new.
Yeah, but I mean, like this is as far as the Tiefling being a balanced race, like this is the counterpoint to that.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's completely balanced. It's got a lot to offer. Again, I'll go back to personally. I think it has more of incentive to go off cast than type.
Nah, dude, I was totally like, doing dishes the other night. I was like, man, if only there was a race that gets a bump to wisdom and charisma. There you go. That's what I needed. Yeah.
So let's wrap this up. The cons for me was they picked the duck to use as the example. They went with the easy one.
Yep.
It would have been nice to see something else. I personally would have liked a plain touch race instead of Aasimar Tiefling and just made them sub races that they could have then later built upon.
No, here's more apropos. They picked a pigeon and painted it white and called it a dove. Because from Tiefling to Celestial, Aasimar, that's pretty appropriate.
Yeah, it is appropriate. It works. It's not bad. Aasimars, you can slap them in your game now.
That's right.
With that, I'm going to say like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Check us out on nerdarchy.com.
You can also join the conversation on Reddit.
Or hang out with us over on Facebook. Well, with that,
Stay
nerdy.
Oh.
Distinct race in 4th. They carried that over to 5th. So I don't even know what that means for the Aasimar. It used to be if you were a Tiefling, your great-great-great-granddaddy might have been some kind of fiend, whether it was infernal or abyssal.
Right.
But now that's not the case. That it's a true race that's been of humans that's been cursed, and now they're kind of demonic humans.
Well, I think you can go, in my opinion, with either choice for your particular setting, and for our games, I think we pretty much should stick to the somewhere in your blood trail is this,
Kicking it back old school.
but
Yeah.
at the same
The way it should
time
be.
allow you to breed true. You're gonna breed another tiefling essentially because there is that descendant bloodline.
Or you just have, if you Hi there, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchyst Ryan, and today we're going to get divine with the Celestial. I'm joined by my esteemed Nerdarchists.
Dave.
There's plenty of stuff that's setting specific, but it's funny that the holy one, the good planar touched humanoid is in the DMG, and the innately evil eat your soul, everyone's suspicious of you, is in the player's handbook.
Well, here's the thing too, like the Tiefling that we're familiar with is like 2E and 3E, and that's the version that I actually like. But they made it a
Ted?
Nate.
So one of the biggest complaints I've heard is that Tiefling is in the PHB, but the Aasimar is not. So Watts went and there was a lot of speculation too that what race they were going to put into the DMG, and I was hoping for the Warforged, but I didn't get it.
No, they did not.
Well, I really think the Warforged is going to be in the Eberron book, but